Care colleghe,
dear colleagues, friends, family members, I retire today.
da mio padre negli anni 50.
I am leaving our company to my son, a company which was founded by my father in the 50s. And I'm going to tell you a story that has lasted for more than 70 years, and for many reasons, is intertwined with that of Vicenzaoro, which is turning 70 exactly. It is my story, the story of my family, and the story of Vicenzaoro. I was approximately 10 when one late summer day my mum took me to the Salvi Gardens, a short walk from Vicenza, Piazza Castello, where among the waters of the river and the tree-lined paths, the National Gold and Silver Exhibition was being inaugurated. It was 1954. My dad was an artisan goldsmith and exhibited at the show, and I enjoyed going around the exhibitors, feeling important. Goldsmithing at this period reflected opulence and elegance, with a return to the classical after the war years. Large, bold jewelry, often with diamonds and pearls, was preferred. Yellow gold was also popular, and designers such as Van Cleef & Arpels and Cartier were very influential. One day, in a large crowd, I met none other than Domenico Modugno. He was a guest at the exhibition. A large crowd followed him, but I waved to him. He stopped and blew me a kiss. My father loved his work madly and kept everything about him, tools, documents, his work coats that he so carefully kept. In the storage room of our workshop, I still have boxes of newspapers talking about, among other things, also this event. I could almost be an archivist. Every now and again, I flip through them and reread my own life. The fair from Berlin to the US begins to bring Vicenza gold to the world. Il Giornale di Vicenza, the 20th of September, 1963. These were the years of a decisive turning point in paving the way for what would be the future of the actual Vicenza Gold Fair. 1965 was the first year in which the event was doubled. First the gold fair, then the one for marble and ceramics. But in 1966, the dates also changed. The gold fair still takes place in September, but only 2 years later it will be transformed into two separate dates for gold, September and February. International success begins to develop. I remember seeing foreign delegations from Kenya, Jamaica, the Far East, arriving to visit the goldsmithing exhibition. At that time, we did not own a car, and Dad came home from the fair one day and said that an Alfa Romeo 1900 had been displayed in the middle of the Salvi Gardens. The visitors were in awe, and so was he. After a few years, my dad was able to buy it. Every year I grew up and I saw the exhibition growing with me in terms of the quality, quantity of exhibitors and number of attendees. When I finally turned 18 and I was still studying accounting, I got permission from my parents to start working occasionally as a steward. And at the same time, I spent a lot of time in Dad's workshop learning tricks and secrets. Those were the revolutionary 60s, and from TV screens and theaters came dreamy images from movie divas to style icons wearing elegant, colorful, futuristic jewelry. For me as a girl, it was a dream every time the fair date arrived. I remember the phrase, "a jewelry for every woman," that stood out in the newspapers and on the signs of the fair. And yes, I too felt entitled to have a piece of jewelry of my own, even though I still was a young woman. First loves, first throbs, and the unforgettable concert of Mina invited by the organization to the Basilica Palladiana, where I first kissed Augusto, who later became my husband. If I am here tonight, well, this is still our song today. In those years, the royals of Belgium strolled among the exhibition stands, and I remember Paolo Ruffo of Calabria saying the phrase, "Not even at court did I see so many beautiful things." The Salvi Gardens were, for me, the home of the event until 1971, when the beating heart of Vicenza Gold and Precious Metals exhibition moved to the edge of the industrial area. on the Serenissima Highway junction and was referred to as the Aztec Temple because of its conformation and pyramidal shape. The 1970s were very intense years for my family. At the end of the decade, my father decided to retire, and I took over the family workshop, becoming an entrepreneur. Those years were characterized by a bohemian style and a return to nature. Ethnic and handcrafted jewelry gained popularity, and yellow gold was a frequent choice, but with a more extravagant and less formal design. Unisex jewelry began to emerge, reflecting changes in gender roles. In 1975, my son Paolo was born, and in 1977, my daughter Sandra. Also, the fair changes, because in the mid-70s, it was already too small and a new pavilion was built. More than 500 companies are exhibiting at the Vicenza Fair, and the city becomes beautiful, thriving. In those years, the Romeo Menti Stadium fills up every Sunday to follow the Lanerossi Vicenza matches led by an Italian soccer talent named Paolo Rossi. At the Vicenza Fair, on the other hand, diamonds also arrive. To celebrate this new arrival, a cutter from Antwerp is invited, and he amazes everyone by performing live diamond cutting in front of everybody. Mid-decade and colored gemstones almost bring about a revolution. In a copy of the 3rd of October of the Giornale di Vicenza, 1975, you can read a journey bringing you in contact with gems of the most varied sizes and values, amethysts, corals. You can admire a rough emerald weighing a kilogram, and you can discover the so-called pietre paesine village stones. My life and that of my company proceed in a strange symbiosis, and the beginning of the 80s is a particularly difficult moment for me. I lose both my parents, and there is a lot of tension at work. Gold is skyrocketing. There is a strong crisis. But we continue producing, and the fair grows and expands. A pavilion expressly dedicated to watches is born. I remember Pierre Cardin, French by adoption, but Veneto by birth, very elegant, coming to visit the exhibition and lingering fascinated in that pavilion. Finally, after a few years, the market is recovering, especially selling in the United States and Arab countries, South America, although Germany is still a big issue. Years or so, a comeback to glamour and excess with large, bold jewelry, often embellished with diamonds and precious gemstones. Yellow gold is still popular, but white gold and mixed metals are gaining ground. And there is a lot of interest towards high fashion jewelry. But there are more changes. In the January edition in 1984, for the last time, the name International Gold Jewelry and Silverware Exhibition is used, since in the June issue, the name became Vicenzaoro. There is a desire to open up to new generations. Young people attend goldsmithing practice classes in large numbers. Goldsmithing attracts a younger generation and is a sign of confidence in the recovery of the industry. Also, my children, when they are free from their study commitments, begin to work with me and participate in the event, just as I had done as a girl. The 1990s, the decade of platinum, a trend towards a more minimalistic and understated style. Design is more simple and more modern, with emphasis on shape rather than decoration. Diamond jewelry becomes smaller and smaller and less ostentatious. For me, a great music lover, I have always loved the guests and the concerts that the event brought to the city. In the 1990s, there were fabulous events. First, the Gino Paoli concert at the Rotunda, and then Andrea Bocelli giving a concert for the 50th anniversary of Fiera di Vicenza in Piazza dei Signori. Meanwhile, the fair opens up to the east, to countries such as Hong Kong, which rises from the first 5 exhibitors in 94 to 30 in 98, and then Indonesia, Thailand, India, destinations of various missions, and China, with the first journalist from China hosted in 1995. And then the year 2000. These last 20 years have really flown by, despite the great fear of the pandemic 3 years ago and the change which has taken place in society. The way of traveling the world, of looking at the world through the digital screen. The strong euro versus the dollar, the rising price of gold, custom duties in the American market, new customer styles. New products can be found at the fair. There is a mix of styles. Some prefer simple, understated jewelry. Others opt for bolder, more personalized pieces. There is talk of customization, and the emergence of new technologies such as 3D printing begins to influence jewelry design. 2001 is also the year when my family, along with 80,000 other Vicenza residents, are forced to evacuate to allow for the defusing of a 1.5-ton wall device found during work at our cemetery. It is an unexploded bomb from World War II dropped during the bombings that destroyed the Verdi and Erutenio theaters in 1944. In a kind of sad parallelism, 2001 is also the year the attack to the Twin Towers, and in those days we were in the halls of Vicenzaoro, as we are every September. We united among colleagues and customers to mourn. There were many Americans and Arabs at the fair. It is a nation that I cannot possibly forget. 2010 to 2023, these years have strongly changed the history of the fair and of jewelry. There is a strong interest in sustainability and ethics in jewelry. Handcrafted and ethically sustainable jewelry becomes more and more popular. Design becomes more diverse with global influences and greater focus on one's personal history and uniqueness. The internationalization work that began in the previous 2 decades goes on, starting with the creation of the Vicenzaoro Italian Club to bring Italian jewelry to world fairs. First stop, the JCK in Las Vegas, with a delegation of 158 companies, then Istanbul and Hong Kong. And my small family business, founded by my dad in a small workshop under our house, is among them. How exciting! Those were my first trips to places I didn't know, and I felt a bit lost. Now, I get around those cities with ease, and I even have some friends there. My company grows, and since my son joined the company, we decided to change its name. And the same thing happens to the trade fair. On the 28th of October 2016, the Rimini and Vicenza trade fairs merge and constitute the Italian Exhibition Group, which would later be listed on the Milan Stock Exchange in 2019. In 2020, the pandemic is perhaps the most difficult time in the industry's history, with factory lockouts, banned travel, and online trading. But the restart exceeds all expectations, with numbers soon surpassing those of an already good 2019. I'm glad I've been here long enough to be able to see what happened after the COVID pandemic. Yeah, because the recovery was a boom that went beyond the wildest expectations, with a September 2021 restart edition that surpassed pre-pandemic figures. With a surge in e-commerce, with global access, the jewelry market is becoming more and more diversified. There is a strong demand for customized and unique pieces, as well as growing interest in the works of independent jewelers. Technology continues to play an important role with the use of augmented and virtual reality to try on jewelry virtually. The year 2023 makes record numbers, and Vicenzaoro becomes even more important, more internationally relevant. Today, the fair is celebrating its 70th anniversary and still has an important task ahead for all companies in our industry. I'm saying goodbye today. I'm saying goodbye to colleagues and places. I'm a grandmother now, and I will enjoy the time and the people around me, leaving the helm of my small but stout company in the hands of my son, Paolo. I wish you, working here, and I wish this one-of-a-kind event, to which I owe much of my good fortune, the best, so that we can move beyond, leaving a great heritage for the future. Good luck. Virginia.
Let our story talk about us. About 70 years of excellence. About our heritage story. Where every jewel marks a chapter. About jewels' beauty, their vibrant soul, their masterful creation, about people they have met here, events they have been to. Let us talk about our Italian story. Let us discover new stories. Let's create the future together. The heritage for tomorrow.
Signore e signori, buongiorno e
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on behalf of Italian Exhibition Group to the 7th Golden Years of Vicenzaoro. Thank you very much on behalf of the whole team. Allow me to invite Matteo Caccia, who is an actor, a storyteller, a journalist from Radio24. Thank you very much and all the best. Let's start with the opening ceremony. I'd like to invite the President of IEG, Mr. Maurizio Ermeti, Mayor of Vicenza, Giacomo Possamai, the President of the Province of Vicenza, Andrea Nardin, Claudia Piaserico, President of Confindustria Federorafi, Matteo Zoppas, who's just arrived, President of Agenzia, and the President of the Veneto region, Mr. Luca Zaia. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. I'd like to give the floor to the President, Mr. Ermeti, for the institutional welcome. I'm sorry, I can't see you, but I hear that you are here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are our dear guests. Let me make a first comment that I always say when I go around the pavilions of Vicenzaoro. I was thinking about the idea of joy. Joy is a feeling to which, unfortunately, we are no longer used in general. And this is not only for Italians as people. We are less and less enchanted by the things that surround us. But earlier this morning, I don't think those who visited the exhibition can confirm, earlier this morning, while going around the trade fair, I felt a great joy in my heart. I indeed was struck by the excellence of the craftsmanship which has come here in Vicenzaoro. This trade fair is really a wonderful event, is a real show. This day is a very special day for us. I'm so glad to be here with you today. the edition of 2024 of Vicenzaoro calls on us to be the protagonist of this very important event, which marks a very important moment in the history of the Vicenza Trade Fair. Indeed, you all have understood that this day is the 70 golden years of the trade fair of Vicenzaoro. It's a great achievement, and it is even greater if we simply look back at the years of the pandemic and the challenges that we had to face. That is a challenge that we won. In 2023, when the pandemic was just concluded, the trade fair signed indeed a year of records. As we heard earlier this morning, and based on the data that we have for this edition, we can enthusiastically state that this event is indeed becoming a further record, all sold out. All the spaces have been occupied by the exhibitors, and we expect to have 130 countries from the world to visit the trade fair. Indeed, that makes this exhibition not only an international exhibition, we can really say that it is a universal exhibition. This is, again, a very special day for us, and together with those who contributed to make this exhibition great over the years, i.e. the customers, the buyers, the national and international institutions, the trade associations. Today we have the marvelous representative, Mrs. Claudia Piaserico, and the media and all the friends who are here to celebrate the 70 years. I'd like to thank all the people who came before us. One of them, as we heard, gave a big contribution to make this marvelous success. I know the most recent history of Vicenzaoro. I come from the trade fair of Rimini, and we had the opportunity to get acquainted with the trade fair of Vicenza only in the past years of its history. I can tell you about the most recent accomplishments that were achieved thanks to the strategic vision by the trade fair of Vicenza and Rimini with Matteo Marzotto and Lorenzo Cagnoni, who in 2016 joined forces as presidents of the two trade fairs, combining and merging the two trade fairs, which is a unique thing in Italy. That was a major step. We had the opportunity to attack the markets. We were able to overcome the pandemic. We worked together on the field of gold and jewelry, making it even more united. And they became a single player who can devise strategies in the industry and plan its own growth. And we succeeded in the end to turn an historical fair, that of Vicenza, into something which is nowadays the most beautiful gold and jewelry trade fair in the world. So we deserve to join hands to congratulate us. This cannot be denied. Just go around the pavilions and you'll see that excellence. This is not all. We undertook a new commitment as Italian Exhibition Group, and my personal commitment, that of the CEO Peragoni, and that of our manager, Mr. Marco Carniello, and his team, together with all the other teams who are working together to support the growth of the trade fair, speaking the language of the future. This year, 2024, we will be planning the investments for the next 70 years. Our company will invest in a special neighborhood of Vicenza, which will completely modify the layout of the trade fair. At the end of Vicenzaoro in February, we'll start demolishing what is known as the Aztec pyramid here in Vicenza. That is part of our history. We saw that pyramid in the middle of apparently nowhere. Now things have changed very much, and new buildings will be made because that model is no longer available to serve the modern trade fair of this century. More than 60 million euros will be invested, and that will be done with the capital of IEG. There won't be capital increases. We will cut the presence of shareholders, and we will work together to develop the project of the trade fair of Vicenza. A new pavilion on 2 levels, 22,000 square meters, and all the new connections with the other pavilions will be created. So we'll have a trade fair neighborhood so that it would be easier to move from one pavilion to the others. That will be accompanied with improved services to visitors and exhibitors. Then we'll have a stop of the fast train so that the accessibility of the trade fair new neighborhood will be easier. That is the result of a collaboration with the municipality of Vicenza. We have the mayor here, the province, Mr. Nardin, the region, President Zaia, the Chamber of Commerce, Zoppas, and the police headquarters, which support us in managing the traffic around the trade fair. So I'd like to thank Prefect Mr. Giacomo of the local police for supporting us. Indeed, we will have new elements in the success of Vicenzaoro. We are determined to continue to do our own job. We are not builders. We are people who organize trade fairs, exhibitions. Our commitment is to improve the relationship with our partners, going beyond the idea of simple service providers. We want to work with a full supply chain of customers. We want to work with industry associations to appreciate the needs and the evolution of the market with an increasingly global look at the industry, thanks to the exhibitions of Vicenzaoro held in other countries. We also would like to intensify the relationship with our international partners, such as S.p.A. President Cavalieri is here, the partners from Hong Kong, India, Thailand, Turkey, Europe, France, Spain, Germany, and you name it, all present in the exhibition. I also would like to give a special thank to ICE and President Zoppas, who there he is. You really rushed to get here. Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for attending the exhibition. Thank you very much for your constant support to the international development of the exhibition. That indeed has been sped up thanks to a project called Prima, which is the first, to bring to Vicenza the best buyers in the world. We are investing in all the new technologies on young people training, and on the development of skills working with us, who are the backbone of the industry. So we work so that the future of Vicenza could include a project of success made of harmonious collaboration with the local partners. This is a very ambitious journey, but indeed it will be a pleasant one, as it has been so far. So thank you very much for being here and for being at our side. Thank you very much, and enjoy. And I also wish a great success to the edition January 2024.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We can now leave the floor to the Mayor of Vicenza, Mr. Possamai. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me focus on two concepts. The first one, today we are celebrating our first 70 years. And we're also celebrating the first milestone of the next 70 years, as we heard from President Ermeti. 60 million euro invested in the headquarters in Vicenza. This is a strong message to the community, enterprises, to the city, to the province regarding the prospect of growth for this fair and for this area. In a few years, we will have here a dedicated stop of the high-speed train, becoming one of the best connected fair headquarters in our country. Right, as we've heard from Virginia's words in the story by Matteo Caccia about her life, we could understand that the life of this entrepreneur was strongly related to the story of the city. This fair is strongly connected with its community. This is a feature of the past that will continue in the future. This morning, together with President Piaserico, we were together with hundreds of students of our province and our city, because there are many entrepreneurs that are keen on telling young people why it is beautiful to be a goldsmith and why there is a future. So this connection between the fair, the companies and the community is the basis for our future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We can now leave the floor to Mr. Andrea Nardin, President of the Province of Vicenza. Thank you very much. I would like to express my thanks to all the authorities represented here and to all of you. And I would like to share with you part of my recent story as a president of this province. A couple of months ago, I was on stage and I was really emotional. My legs were shaking, my heart was pounding. In the following months, I wondered why. And I couldn't find an explanation. Of course, a lot of investments had been announced. There was a strong support by the previous president, which is continuing with the present president, whom I would like to thank for his support to the fair. All these are very important things, but they couldn't explain why my heart was beating madly. The Vicenza Fair represents a turnover of billions of euros. It is growing strongly, but that cannot be an explanation for that. But I believe that Matteo Caccia and Mayor Possamai have explained why my heart was pounding, because it is here that the stories converge of many Vicenza people. whom I have the honor to represent here. Those 5,000 individuals who directly work in the gold industry, and the many, many people contributing to this industry. But those hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, men and women who day after day provide us with excellence. This what was moved me. This is what made me so emotional, so excited. This is a community that strongly believes in this industry. And I would like to conclude with a message that I sent to Marco yesterday evening. Great goals require a lot of work. A lot of work leads to great results. To reach those results, my legs are no longer trembling, but my heart is still beating very strong for this fair and this province. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the floor to President Piaserico, President of Confindustria Federorafi.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really moved, so I hope that my voice does not break. I take the opportunity to stress the importance of a strategy that we have shared with IEG. It's an important strategy to strengthen the role of Vicenzaoro as the world hub for jewelry. It's not only a place to carry out business, it's a real reference point for the golden jewelry sector in Italy. That means new projects that we all share. We discuss them, we set very precise objectives. First of all, and we stated many times from here that we have to focus on training. As the mayor stressed, we have opened up the third course of guidance. We started last year, and the guidance, the professional guidance, is not carried out in schools, but we do that in the fair. The first was carried out in Arezzo, and the third earlier this morning at the San Marco Theatre with nearly 500 kids. And indeed, they were all enthusiastic together with their teachers, and that was very important for us to attract and to be appealing to young persons. We are making major efforts together with the trade fair and the associations, and I think we should congratulate ourselves because indeed there is a plus 1.8% in terms of jobs in the industry that had been standing still for many years. This means that our communication, our commitment are being successful, and that implied everyone. Training is not only at the center. Indeed, we are interested in getting international. I take the opportunity to thank President Zoppas. He is nearly ubiquitous, and we always work on synergies for the incoming buyers. We want to improve our relationship with them. We want to get a better understanding and be present in many markets. Then, on Monday, during a press conference, it will announce that Vicenza will become the center for technology at world level. The Vicenza Technological Symposium, which is going to be announced, been advocated by IEG, the associations, to convene in Vicenza every 2 years the most important experts in scientific research, technology, innovation. We know that made in Italy is the outcome of a perfect conciliation between heritage and technology innovation. We want to become the head of the world in this field. So that will be a reference site convening the most important experts with testing of new technologies to become a real hub, not only for business people, but also for the scientific side. I'd like to thank and congratulate IEG in the person of the new president. The continuous relationship with the reference trade fair, which is becoming one of the most important trade fairs in the world, is indeed an essential prerequisite in order to continue to be successful in the enhancement of jewels. Thank you very much, Madam President. I'd like to give the floor to Matteo Zoppas, President of ICE Agenzia.
Buongiorno a tutti, buongiorno a...
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank those who mentioned me and also our president. When I started working at ICE, I saw that the topic of trade fairs was assessed, and I worked a lot to better define the role of my agency in the relationship with trade fairs. As a businessman, as an entrepreneur, I have indeed worked a lot in order to support the trade fairs, because I know that the real business, especially for SMEs, is done on the occasion of trade fairs, which are a launching board to foreign markets for the entrepreneurs of SMEs, in particular in the first stages when they work to get international. This is a key point for us. As ICE, we organize about 260 and attend 260 trade fairs abroad, 140 activities of incoming for buyers in Italy. We have brought about 570 buyers this year. There were 500 last year who came through us, and this is what we do for them. We pay for their expenses while they are in Italy to make them more familiar with the made in Italy production and to help them meet our points of excellence. We do that for all the trade fairs. Indeed, there are sectors which are really strategic for the made in Italy production, and that of golden jewelry is one of them. Bearing witness to that is the fact that about 630 billion export of the made in Italy products of 2022 didn't come from the gold sector. It might seem a small number, but the number of industries is abundant. And that is the DNA of Italy, the top of the range crafts products. To date, this year, the export had a good start. It's now being realigned with the data of last year. We have the data of November 2023. It's 0.07 of inflation rate is a good sign. That means that your industry, based on the latest statistics, amount for about 10%. That means you are a driving engine for the export activities. Some entrepreneurs are a bit worried about the future. Germany is an important destination. We know that the economy is slowing down there. There were problems. Then we have Russia, Ukraine. Some countries are going through a period of uncertainty. But I think you have to be glad and satisfied for what you have done, and we join our hands to congratulate the entrepreneurs. We do our best. Indeed, the real driving engine is that of companies which do find solutions every day to the problems we had in the past 3 years. There are some uncertainties for the year 2024, but still I advocate some optimism. Our strong message is your industry, your platform, the trade fair of Vicenza is very important, is driving, it's a flying wheel for your industry, has been developing, and it's a point of reference for the whole world. As you said, trade fairs should get international. In the past, we only had missions. Now, poles are built abroad for the Italian trade fairs, and that's a good tool to promote the Made in Italy production. And indeed, the Istituto for Commercio Estero is on your side. We do believe in it. So enjoy Vicenzaoro and make good business. Thank you, Mr. Zoppas. Now the floor to the President of the Veneto region, Mr. Luca Zaia. Thank you very much. May I have some more light, please? Otherwise, it's too gloomy. I know that we have many foreign guests.
I've traveled to be here today. Thank you very much. You have in the unique city where we say, where the pigeon walk and the lion flies. and we say that we are very, very welcome in the real Italian Embassy, Vicenzaoro. Thank you very much. Detto questo, volevo intanto dire buon compleanno, lo posso dire, Presidente Ermeti, buon compleanno.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Just think of it, 70 years. Let's go back to 1954. That means that at that time, some apparently crazy people who were very much determined, as I always say, those who are pessimistic are never successful. Those people, 9 years after the end of the Second World War, they decided with a strong determination and will to make business. There are about 300 exhibitors from here. This industry has a growth of plus 10%. I have to thank the entrepreneurs to their determination. Indeed, COVID was a real slaughter. Indeed, and not many had trusted the possibility to have trade fairs again, to meet in person, to shake hands. But people here were very strong. 70 years ago, they were confident that after the storm, the sun would have come back again. And the pandemic was a disaster, but there were good things and bad things over these 70 years. I'd like to thank those people who believed in the trade fair and watching Mrs. Piaserico. And thank you very much for involving the young people. As Mayor Possamai said, young people indicate the way. Whether you like it or not, the young people are those who show the way, without speaking about people who have to migrate because there was so much poverty here. But now, with that strength and determination, they have been successful. You mentioned the ASEC pyramid. That is a monument, a celebration of the determination of those companies. In the Veneto region, 80% of companies has less than 20 employees. This is not a Fordist model. And we are happy for that, because that way he had the possibility to have small and very small companies created. There are no gold mines here. So the industry was built from scratch. We have 180 billion of GDP created here. Thank you very much. Minister Urso sent his message, which I read.
I would like to thank the President of Italian Exhibition Group, Maurizio Ermeti, for his invitation, and I would like to greet all the guests taking part of the 70th edition of Vicenzaoro. Your fair is an international event narrating one of the manifold excellences of Made in Italy, thanks to its unique mix of creativity, tradition, craftsmanship, technology, and sustainability. This industry is leader in the gold jewelry market. It is a good moment to invest in innovation, with more than 13 billion euro allocated for digital transition. On top of that, we are aiming at requalifying skills, and we believe that it is urgent to invest in our young people who are starting, studying and specializing, not only by providing support to the academies of large brands, but also to support lyceums like the Lyceums for Made in Italy and the vocational schools, so that it is possible to preserve the tradition and the secrets of a sector which is becoming more and more specialized. In our decree, the Made in Italy decree, we've also started the Foundation for Enterprises and Competencies for Made in Italy, with the purpose of connecting the companies representing the Made in Italy excellence and the lyceums of Made in Italy to disseminate enterprise culture amongst the students and promoting initiatives that aim at including these young people as quickly as possible in the labor market. We've also created the Day of Made in Italy. The 15th of April of every year, we will celebrate the creativity and Italian excellence in the public institution and the schools, as well as in the factories, to recognize the social role and the contribution to the economic and cultural development of our country. I would like to wish you all profitable proceedings, in the certainty that the beauty of your creations will make us proud also in the future and will bestow new success on all of us. Thank you very much. Adolfo, Urso. We're now going to conclude with the last video, which portrays some of our entrepreneurs here in Vicenza who have made the history of our fair. Please enjoy the video.
Ho cominciato a frequentare la fiera quando ero ancora ragazzino, accompagnavo mio papà che a quel tempo esponeva in fiera.
Il mio primo ingresso in fiera negli anni 64-65.
Settembre del 1989.
Nel 1988.
Giugno del 1987.
È stato il 1992.
Il primo giorno di fiera è stato nel 1987.
Il mio primo giorno a Vicenzaoro risale nel 1988.
E l'augurio che faccio a Vicenzaoro è che qua da Vicenza partissero le tendenze del mondo dell'oreficeria e della gioielleria, un'aspirazione che vorrei che Vicenzaoro realizzasse.
Che rimanga sempre un punto di riferimento com'è, che sappia crescere sempre di più le relazioni che ha saputo costruire nel tempo.
Di continuare a crescere, essere lungimirante e vedere il futuro del nostro settore.
Di proseguire con il successo che ha avuto finora e di portare avanti sempre di più il Made in Italy, di non perdere questo obiettivo.
Io auguro altri 70 anni, spero che continui più di 70 anni anche.
Di continuare a essere punto di riferimento per quanto riguarda il settore orafo.
Auguro di essere elastici, perché in questo momento il mercato richiede elasticità e di saper adattarsi alle situazioni che verranno.
Auguro a Vicenzaoro di diffondere pace e prosperità attraverso il gioiello a livello internazionale, promuovendo un rinascimento tra Oriente e Occidente, perché il gioiello è identità, è la storia dei popoli.
Allora ci avviamo alla conclusione, chiedo di alzarvi.
Right. I would kindly ask you all to stand up. Thank you very much. And I ask Corrado Peraboni, the Managing Director, to join us on stage, together with Giorgio Giucato, President of the Chamber of Commerce, the Prefect of Vicenza, Salvatore Giacomo, and our foreign partners, Mr. Gaetano Cavalieri, President of SIPJO, Mr. Rai Kamal, Council of Indian Italy, Benedictine, President of Hong Kong JJA, thank you, Benedict, Mr. Ahmed Ishakoglu, member of JTR, Chi Chuan, Executive Director of the Singapore Tourism Board, and Rocco Gay, Vice President of ICA.
Thank you. Grazie.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Grazie. Bene.
Great.
Grazie a tutti.
Thank you very much to all of you, and enjoy Vicenzaoro.
Abbiamo fatto abbastanza in fretta.